So do you think Nigeria has an edge over other countries in terms of real estate?
That is a very interesting question.
I agree.
I think the major edge that we have is the land. We have vast land.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of SME Chat. And today we are sitting with Peacemaker Afolabi, who is the owner of Bras and Castles Homes and Properties Limited, who has also been in the real estate space as a broker for over 13 years. Well, he also started developing 2.5 years ago. Please make welcome with me, Mr. Peacemaker Afolabi. Hello, Peacemaker.
Hi, Dami.
How are you doing today?
I'm fabulous.
Oh, you
And
look fabulous. Anyway.
Thank you. And you too.
Thanks
for having
you very
me.
much.
Thank
All
you.
right, it's a pleasure. Do you want to tell us a bit about Bras and Castles? Would like to know.
Okay, Bras and Castle is a property development company. Basically, we are into solving shelter problems. We started off in Nigeria, and then we started off less than 2.5 years ago. And with the special grace of God, we've been able to deliver 3 projects in the last 2.5 years, amounting to 36-unit apartments of 2 bedrooms. And we are on into other projects, and we are doing well. I mean, I can say that we are doing well.
Interesting. I mean, I understand that real estate is quite a lucrative business. Yeah, but what made you go into real estate business? Or was it something that you had just thought like, okay, this is the business I wanted to do?
Well, 2 major things.
Okay.
The first thing is money. I like to be straightforward about that.
Absolutely.
I mean, real estate gives you the ability to make more money. Although it comes with a lot of challenges, but it gives you the opportunity to make more money. Secondly, it's a passion for me, seeing or solving shelter problems. It's a drive for me, and it's also part of the reason why one of our core values is timely delivery. We enter into any project that we are doing in 6 to 8 months. We chunk out every other project in 6 to 8 months because we want to solve shelter problems. Of course, that's the primary reason. But to add to it is the part that as I'm solving the problems, or as we are solving the problem as an organization, we are also making good income for ourselves.
Interesting. So what exactly makes real estate a lucrative business? I would assume, I'll take the position of a layman. So I'd like to know what exactly makes it, because everybody just says, oh, real estate is a lucrative business. I agree that it's a lucrative business, quite all right. But for someone else probably watching right now that doesn't know why exactly real estate is it, because I also believe that many people are going into real estate with a very false orientation. That's why you see a lot of agents these days. They don't even know what they are selling. They just come and meet you. Oh, I'm selling houses. Oh, I rent houses. And then when you start to ask them intricate details about the properties that they're selling, it seems as though they don't know anything about it. So what makes it exactly a lucrative business?
Okay, I think before I respond to that question, I would like to add to it that, just like you mentioned earlier, I was a broker for about 13 years before I moved into development. And it's sad to see that some people don't understand the nitty-gritties of how the business is being done.
Yeah.
But let me go straight to your question. What makes it lucrative is the fact that you create employment for a lot of people. You can't do development, at least averagely on every of our projects, we've had to indirectly and directly outsource every part of construction to nothing less than 100 people.
Wow.
So it's lucrative because you are creating employment for people. 2, is lucrative because you are also making money in return. So you won't want to go into anything that you're not going to make money out of. And that's why it is lucrative. The third part to it is that it's a problem that you are solving. And so there's no way you solve a problem that it doesn't become lucrative. It's like transportation. It's lucrative because you are providing means of transportation for people to move from one place to another. And it's lucrative because people must live in homes. People must live people must have shelter. So those are the three major things. The fact that there's employability attached to it.
Yeah.
There's the fact that you also make money for
Yeah.
yourself. It's also the fact that it's a problem that you are solving.
Okay, so from what you just said now, maybe in an ideal climate, the government should provide more housing for its citizens more than individuals, right? But we realize that in our case, there are a lot of private companies, individuals providing this shelter, or rather solving shelter problem, like you said, for people more than government. So are you now saying that if the government decides today, right, to take up housing and actually solve this shelter problem, bring up as many buildings as possible, would there still be means to create this? Would real estate still be as lucrative as it is for individuals right now?
Good question. The government are not supposed to create housing.
Okay, how do you mean?
They are supposed to create collaborations. It is the private sector that will need to collaborate with the government, or the government to collaborate with the private sector to solve housing problems. So what the government does is to create right policies and right partnerships. Once that is in place, you can be rest assured that housing will gradually we reduce tremendously. I mean, the government creates things like the mortgage. The government creates things like the right policies for developers like us to work with. And then we go out and we develop as many houses as possible. Other times, the government can partner with private sector by providing lands, and the developer comes in to build. Other times, the government can also create financing or even mandate financial institutions to create certain portions of funding into construction. Because imagine we are under a shelter right now. Imagine if there was no shelter. I'll probably be on the expressway and be granting this interview.
Right.
But you must always create shelters. So the government is not in position to actually solve shelter problems. They are in position to create the right policies and to create partnerships that provides or that solves shelter problems.
Interesting. Okay, so when you were going into real estate business, right? Because I know that real estate is for one an industry, then there's the business part of it. So when you were going into the real estate business, did you go into it? Were there fears? I think, that's the right question I should ask. Were there fears? And if there were fears, what were your fears? What were you scared of? Like, if I go in, because the truth is, maybe very regularly, anybody's fear will be, will I sell? What if I don't meet up? What if this? Because the truth is that during a project, you can never tell what's going to go wrong. One thing or the other always goes wrong. So it might delay your delivery time. It might even delay the quality of what you're going to present or something. So what were the fears you had when you were going to start this business?
Well, I will answer that question by saying that there are still fears. That's the easiest way to answer it. There are still fears. There were fears when we were going to start. There were fears when we were constructing the projects that we've delivered. There are still fears even with the projects that we are delivering. And there are still fears even for the future projects that we want to deliver. And then because as a developer, you don't just develop one project and stop. You develop, you move into other ones. In our own case, for every time we are rounding up a project, we've already started another one. So it's a continual thing for us. So the fears will always be there. But there are ways to mitigate the fears. One of the ways to mitigate the fears is to get as many professionals as best as possible on your team. And when I say professionals, I mean engineers. So your team of engineers, who will be the architects, the structural engineers, the electrical engineers, the mechanical engineers, the civil engineers, make sure you get those guys to be as professionals as best as possible. 2, make sure you have a right lawyer. You can have lawyer, but they might not be right
True.
for real estate or for property development. Have the right lawyers on your team. Extension to that is to have the right surveyors. Either you want to have quantity surveyors or you want to have land surveyors. With that, you can mitigate any fears that you are going to have. Will you always have the answers? No. You will still have issues with financing. Sometimes it's like you don't even know how you are going to start the project. But ultimately, once you take a step, you realize that the fear level begins to reduce. If you don't take any step, the fear will keep increasing. But once you take one step, it will be reducing.
Yeah. So currently in Nigeria, do you think that, well, I would like to believe that there are policies, because real estate in Nigeria feels like a market where anybody can just jump into, develop a property, sell it at whatever price they deem fit. You know, because sometimes you see like a slice of house and they're selling it for a very ridiculous amount of money. So I'm like, why? Some houses you even see, maybe it's only the outside that actually looks aesthetically pleasing. But by the time you get inside, from the finishing, and I believe that finishing is a house. Once your finishing is bad, it's, I mean, the value you will put on that house might be, I mean, a little lesser than it should be. So some houses, the outside is quite aesthetically pleasing, but once you get inside, the finishing is just poorly done and stuff. And then by the time you hear the price of the house again, you'll be hearing something million. I'll be like, are you people not seeing what you are putting in the market for this price? So is there like a policy for price regulation in Nigerian real estate? And if there is it that they are not effective? Because it doesn't seem to me as though they are actually effective.
Okay, I won't say there are policies around pricing from the government aspect. There are policies or there are metrics that we use in putting valuations on a property. I mean, it's very simple and direct to know that if you have a development within rural areas, it's not going to be as expensive as having development within urban areas.
True.
To make that very explanatory, if you have a development in Lekki Phase 1, Victoria Island, Ikoyi, here in Lagos, Nigeria, and you have a development in Ekpe or Badagry, it's not going to be the same valuation. You can build same prototype, but it's not going to be the same valuation. Why? Because the land value is there. The cost of labor is there. The cost of materials may be similar, but guess what? The cost of supplies to those places also varies. So basically, it's about the variations too. So back to what you said. A structure. Actually, the first part of structure is the substructure, where you have the columns, the deckings, anything that has to do with structure. The finishing is the other part that you mentioned. And you see, you can't leave one for the other.
True.
Both has to be with top quality. Your substructure has to be top quality. Your finishing has to be top quality. Yes, we've had scenarios where people have undermined the qualities that they are supposed to put in development. But ultimately, your substructure, your finishing must be top-notch quality.
All right. Now we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the SME chat with Peacemaker Afolabi. In today's dynamic global economy, small and medium enterprises stand as unsung hero, playing a pivotal role in driving economic growth, fostering innovation, and creating employment opportunities for millions. Now, according to the World Bank, 600 million jobs will be needed by 2030 to absorb the growing workforce. And believe me when I tell you that the SMEs will be the major employer. My name is Oluwadamilola Ibitui, and I'm on a mission to uncover and reveal the stories of incredible entrepreneurs who are changing the game in the business world. I'll be sitting down with passionate and innovative business leaders as they share their journeys, challenges, futuristic plans, and successes. SME Chats, spotlighting inspiring entrepreneurs, one episode at a time. You're still watching SME Chat with Peacemaker Afolabi. Now, Mr. Peacemaker, I understand what it means to break even in business, but it seems as though breaking even in the business of real estate is a whole different ballgame because sometimes it takes a long time. You know, having investing so much into a project and you probably don't sell at the time that you're supposed to
Expect to sell.
sell, you know, or even if it's rentage. Before you get the money back over how many years. So, what exactly does it mean to break even in real estate business?
I think for us is when we finish selling any of our development. Like you rightly mentioned, sometimes you have to wait. You don't finish selling when you expect to sell. In our own case, God has been good to us. That's the easiest way to say it because all our projects, all our delivered projects, has been sold out at off-plan level or off-plan stages, and that allowed us to finish the project on time.
Yeah.
That also allowed us to break our even on time. But it doesn't work like that all the time.
Yeah.
I have friends, I have colleagues who have had to wait for 1 year before they can break even. In some cases, over 1 year. In some cases, 2 years. Our case has been more of 9 months and below
Interesting.
that we've had to break even. But everything still boils down to the fact that God has been gracious to us. But if we want to put other things in place, like what we've done, we currently develop in a place that is called Ologolo and Ikate, which is close proximity to Lekki Phase 1, Victoria Island, and Ikoyi. What we've done in our own case is to bring what you will find in Lekki Phase 1, Ikoyi, VI, in Ologolo and Ikate. And what do I mean by that? In our development, we have gym. In our development, we have swimming pool. And so those things are not the things that you rarely find in this kind of places that developments are being done. As a matter of fact, in Ologolo, we happen to be the first to bring swimming pool and a gym to any development in the whole of Ologolo. And it was because of our targeted audience. We wanted people who, if they cannot afford what it would take them to buy or to purchase a property within the highbrow areas, they can buy within this axis and they will still be cool with it. So to answer that question straightly, it is when we are finished selling, that's when we break even.
Okay, so how do you in real estate business deal with the fluctuation in the value of our currency? Because if you put a house at maybe 2020 at 200 million, for instance, if you're selling it at 200 million in 2023, I feel like you're running at a loss.
Yes.
Because the currency has been devalued seriously.
Yes.
So how then do you manage that? Do you increase the prices of the house or you just take your loss and walk away with whatever you have?
Well, two things that we've done. Number one is we work with our core value, which is timely delivery. So what that does is it allows us to sell our development within the shortest time and also to deliver the project within the shortest time. So usually there is devaluation or dollar fluctuation that is really, really landmark within 7 to 1 year. So a lot of our developments are within 6 months. 6 months, max 9 months. So before devaluation or inflation catches up with us, we've already moved on. Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't catch up with us.
Okay.
But when it does, what it means is we also have to increase the value of what we are selling. So if, for example, the initial sale price was going for 50 million, we have to increase it to 55 or 60 million.
And then you communicate this to your clients or prospectives.
But you can't do that with the clients who have already signed documents with you.
That's the problem.
Who have agreed with you.
So you just take your loss and just keep it moving.
And keep moving. But it's difficult to get to make losses because you are working with the shortest time. So for us, what we want people to enjoy with our development is, if, for example, you subscribe into our development in January, we want you to move into that apartment by June or July. Or if you want to put it on rentals, we want you to start earning almost immediately. So you can actually buy 2 properties from us within a year and you start earning from it, or you can move into it if you want. So that's what we've used to mitigate that challenge.
Interesting. So how do you build your clientele? I mean, apart from the use of maybe regular independent agents, you know, how is it? Are there specific ways you build your clientele? that you like us to know?
Are there specific ways? I think we've had a good challenge on our hands. We've had more return customers than new customers in our own case. We've had people who have bought 4 unit, 3 unit, 2 unit from us. We've had clients who have become crusaders for us, who now refer us to people or refer people to us. And in most cases, they don't even collect commission. They'll just say, oh, because you guys are doing fantastically well, you guys have delivered to what you said, I want to recommend, or I'm recommending someone to you. And the people buy from us at the end of the day. As a matter of fact, the ongoing project that we have right now, which is 15 units apartment, we're almost sold out. And is being bought by either return customers or referred customers. In some cases, we've not even met them.
Wow.
We've only spoken on phone. But how did we get to where we got to, which is the question that we asked? I think we started with friends and family.
Right.
We started marketing to friends. We started marketing to family members who were interested. And I have a very interesting story. I used to live in an apartment, and then I moved out of the apartment. And less than 2 weeks, I messaged my former landlord and my former landlady, telling them that I was starting a project. And they were very excited. They happened to be our first client.
Interesting.
And they subscribed into the project. And guess what? They bought 2 units.
Wow.
And they even gave us 40% upfront.
Wow.
So that money was what we used to start development. And it has grown from there on. Yes, by the way, we still have agents who still sell for us. But like I mentioned earlier, we have a good challenge on our hand. We have more return customers than new customers. But it doesn't mean we are not opening our doors or opening our ends to new customers.
Interesting. So outside of measuring success by selling off everything that you have like built, all your projects and all, how else do you measure success in your business?
It's the fact that you have laborers coming to work every other day to work, and they get paid at the end of the day. That's a success story for us. Because if we don't have projects, those people won't come.
True.
If they don't come, then it means we don't have money. And if we don't have money, then it means we can't pay anybody. So it's the fact that as we grow as an organization, we watch other people also grow as as individual or as an organization. We've also had to help people in the professional way that we can help them. And what do I mean by that? So when we have artisans come to work with us and they are using their own personal account, we at some point move them or advise them to open a corporate account. And we recommend and even advise them to start paying tax. Because if we are growing at the level that we are growing, and we are doing all those things as required by the government, there's no reason for you to be working with us. And you are also not growing a pal with the way that we are growing. And we've heard too many success stories from the people who are working, who have worked with us, or who are still working with us. I mean, I personally get in touch with everybody, even though they don't have to report to me always. I personally get in touch with every one of them, and I want to see that they are growing. I mean, we've had people who have started with us from our first project who are still working with us till date on our 6th project. We've had people who joined us along the line who are still working with us. In fact, we've had people who at some point we had to tell them that you have to go. Not because they were not doing well, but because we saw the potential. And we said, you know what, you have to go, because we know that you will do better than the way that you are working with us now. And they are doing better, and we've maintained relationship with virtually everybody.
Interesting. What differentiates Bras and Castles from every other real estate? Because the truth is that we have a lot of real estate companies now.
What differentiates us?
So what differentiates Bras and Castle from every other real estate company?
I think we are not in competition with anybody.
Fair.
We are not in competition with anybody. And I think the second thing that differentiates us is the fact that we don't just do development, our own development. We are always involved in communal development. And what does that what that means is, For example, in Ologolo, we've developed 3 projects in Ologolo. And for every of the streets that we have developed, we have had to play active role in road and drainage construction. We have had to play active role in getting sure that power, be it transformer, be it pole, or be it cable, being connected to that community. It's a thing that stands us out. So we come as a championeer to champion the cause, to make sure today we have good relationship with Etiosa local government, because they know that once it comes to development, it is something that is very dear to our heart. So to answer your question, we are not in competition with anybody. 2, we don't just think about our own development. We think about communal development.
So if I want to buy a house, for instance,
Yes.
I'm met with different options, different real estate options now. So, I mean, I want to go for the best, quite frankly, regardless of, let's say money is not the problem. Yeah, I would like to go for the best. So is there a specific thing that stands out that when I see, I'm like, this is where I want to come and buy from. This is where I want to patronize.
If you can see peace of mind, if you can sense peace of mind, if you can feel peace of mind, I think that's one thing that is common with us. It's also part of our core value that when you buy property from us, you have peace of mind because we don't leave you. We stay with you.
Yeah.
We've had to turn virtually all our clients to stakeholders in the organization because we don't take you as clients. We take you as stakeholders. And what that means is you can give us feedback and we'll run with it.
True.
We can knock on your doors and say, is there something that we are not doing right? Is there a way you want us to do something right? Or is there any advice that you want to give to us? And trust me, we run with it. And in development, you always have challenges.
Sure.
Maybe something is not working, something got spoiled, you need to fix it. Within 24 hours, you can be rest assured that we attend to it.
Interesting. Do you believe in collaborations, real estate collaborations?
Do we? Actually, Brass and Castles is built on collaboration.
Okay, so is it Brass and Castle, is it a franchise?
It's not. It's not a franchise.
Okay.
It's a company owned by myself and my partner. But we built the company on collaborations. We built it on partnerships. So the way we even came into the sector or into the industry was to go into joint venture partnerships.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, all our development has been based on partnerships. So it's either a partner brings a land value, and then we bring funding to develop it. That's what we've done for all our development, and we hope for more, we trust for more. We strongly believe in collaborations and partnership. It's also the reason why we can partner with government, even at local government level, and also extending it to the state level. And in the future, we have plans to extend it to the national level because we have projects, we have pet projects. For example, the project that we are working on is called 2400, Project 2400.
Okay.
It's a project that we say we want to build and develop 100 units in 24 months. We have successfully done 36 units in 1 year. We are running, we are moving very fast to try and see how we can meet that up in another 1 year. And then we have a project which we have also launched, which is called Project 5000. It's to build and deliver 5,000 housing in 5 years. For us to do that, we have to partner at the federal level, at the state level, even at the local government level. And then we are also extending to other nations in Africa because our goal ultimately is to build a world-class organization with an African touch. And so we are extending into Accra, Ghana. We are also extending into Rwanda, which is Kigali, Rwanda. And we've actually established our businesses in those places. And we are starting development in those places.
So do you think developers, especially in Nigeria, practice or have global practice? I believe that there's a global practice of developers, right? So do you think it is being properly or it is functional in Nigeria?
I believe it is functioning in Nigeria. Maybe not 100%, but I believe it's functioning. And I'll give a typical illustration. We function with global standard. We follow strict instructions. by the government. We do the needful. I mean, for example, if you want to development, the government expects you to come for building approvals. We
Yeah.
go for it. The government expects you to meet up with requirements with some agencies,
Yeah.
maybe safety commissions, environmental ministries, building agencies. We make sure we meet up with all those requirements, and that's just us, one out of so many. So I believe that we practice it, but like I said, maybe not 100%. And what I personally do on my own side is to get as many of my colleagues or my friends to go the same route. There's no need to cut corners. There's no need not to follow the requirement. I mean, a few minutes ago, I talked about taxation. Pay. No be big deal. Just pay.
Yeah.
The government won't come for you tomorrow. Do your part.
Yeah.
I mean, we are paying tax, but we are still involved in road and drainage construction.
I mean,
you will have expected that you will have used that money to do, but we won't wait for anybody.
Yeah.
But if the government comes tomorrow and says, "Where's your book? We want to see." Thank you for coming. We'll bring out the book. We'll give it to them. So that's it.
All right. So we'll take a very quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue the SME chats with Afolabi Peacemaker. In today's dynamic global economy, small and medium enterprises stand as unsung hero, playing a pivotal role in driving economic growth, fostering innovation, and creating employment opportunities for millions. Now, according to the World Bank, 600 million jobs will be needed by 2030 to absorb the growing workforce. And believe me when I tell you that the SMEs will be the major employer. My name is Oluwadamilola Ibituri, and I'm on a mission to uncover and reveal the stories of incredible entrepreneurs who are changing the game in the business world. I'll be sitting down with passionate and innovative business leaders as they share their journeys, challenges, futuristic plans, and successes. SME Chats, spotlighting inspiring entrepreneurs, one episode at a time. Welcome back. You're still watching SME Chat with Afolabi Peacemaker. So, yeah, Mr. Peacemaker, do you think that real estate in Nigeria is sustainable?
Oh, yes, it is sustainable. I mean, real estate has been on forever since the creation of this country. And it will be even after many years or even after many decades. It's sustainable. The only thing is we need more policies. We need more collaborations between the government and the private sector. And ultimately, it will be a win-win situation, not just only for the government, and even but for the private sector. So it's very, very sustainable. People can't live without shelter.
True.
People can't.
It's one of the basic things that we need as human beings.
It's a basic necessity. It's also part of the sustainability goal that the UN has also put in place. So we can't do without it. We can't.
So do you think Nigeria has an edge over other countries in terms of real estate?
That is a very interesting question.
I agree.
I think the major edge that we have is the land. We have vast land.
True.
Untapped land, by the way. Vast untapped land. 2 is the people. Like we all know, Nigeria is one of the largest nations in terms of population in the world. So with those 2, we have an edge. And to also know that as of today, Nigeria has nothing less than 28 million housing shortage. What it means is if the government comes together with the private sector, lay a good blueprint and run with it, we can overturn any nation in the world in resolving housing problem. For we, the private sector, we've been playing our role. Statistically, we chunk out 300,000 housing every year. What it means is if we continue on that pace, it will take us about 90 years for us to be able to resolve housing problems. But guess what? Today is 28. Next year, probably be 29. So what that means is we need emphasis on the collaboration part between the government and the private sector to be able to chunk out nothing less than 750,000 housing on a yearly basis. With that, in 30 to 35 years, we can actually crumple anything that has to do with housing shortage in Nigeria.
Interesting and brilliant as well. And I hope that this happens so that the housing shortage can reduce? Because
So one of the things I'm trying to champion now, and I'm glad this is also going on air, so that the people who are out there, especially developers who will listen to this, can also do same, is to start sponsoring bills at the assembly, either at the state assembly or at the national assembly, that has to do with housing. We don't do that yet. We either run individually or we run with little collaboration, but we need to take it on a national level. We need to start sponsoring bills. We need to start reaching out to government at the federal level, at the state level, at the local government level to resolve housing problems.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Peacemaker. It's been a very wonderful and interesting conversation.
Thank you.
I have had fun on this set.
I have too.
I've been enjoying the conversation. I don't even want to stop. But before we go, if you were to speak to a budding entrepreneur right now who wants to go into the business of real estate, what would you be saying to the person?
Get a mentor. Get a mentor. Get a mentor. I can't overemphasize on it. Before I moved into development fully, I had to go under a mentorship for 5 years. I had to study somebody for 5 years. I was going to site every other week to see how constructions were being done. I was asking questions. I was familiarizing myself with workers, how to relate with workers, how to buy materials, how to relate with suppliers. When we eventually started development, our errors was very minimal. We still made mistakes. We made errors, but it was very minimal. Imagine if I didn't get a mentor or I didn't go for mentorship, it would have been a disaster.
True.
I probably wouldn't be sitting here before you today. I probably would be in maybe EFCC or maybe in Alagbo, one of those things. But one thing mentorship does for you is that it takes you ahead, many years ahead, sometimes as far as 20, 25 years ahead of your age or ahead of whatever you want to do. And it helps you to mitigate every unnecessary things that you probably will come into. There's no project that we start today that I don't run by my mentor. I mean, the project that we are running right now, I took my mentor to the project sometime last year or sometime early this year, and he was so proud of the project. But guess what? He noticed just one thing that I didn't notice or any of the team member didn't notice. The project is being developed in an highbrow area that has houses on the right, at the back, on the left, and in front. And then the next thing he said, you are going to have challenges with those people. So go and start meeting all of them one by one. Create relationships with them and let them know that once there's an issue on their own side of the development, that you are going to attend to it immediately. And I never saw that. I never saw that. Immediately we started meeting with everybody. Guess what? As the construction is ongoing, we started noticing it. Stains on this side.
Wow.
Something fell on this side. But because we had gone to meet them ahead,
So
it was easy.
Maybe
one of them will have gone to report us to the state government.
Come and see these people.
And
they are building beside us, and
it will have been an issue. And
I
get
know.
mentorship. You can't go wrong with the right mentor. You can't go wrong, but please don't get a mentor. Get a mentor.
Don't get a tormentor. Get a mentor.
Very
word for today. Okay. So if you were to speak to your customers right now,
yes,
the customers that has been very jolly, referring your businesses, speaking of your business, even in rooms where you were not there, what would you be saying to them in appreciation right now?
Don't forget to call me. That's the easiest appreciation. So when I needed to explain, don't forget to call me, because when I say don't forget to call me, it doesn't mean call me to buy property from me. No. So I have this very interesting personal relationship with all our customers. Maybe because they are not millions yet, or maybe thousands yet. But one thing I can say is that we are setting up systems, structures in place to also do the same thing that I'm doing right now. I have this warm relationship with all our customers. A lot of our customers live in the abroad. They live either in America, or they live in UK, or they live in Europe. But they call me every other time. We talk outside the project. We talk
Right.
about every other thing. Sometimes they are like, I hope I'm not boring you. I say, no. No, you are not. You are not at all. I'm enjoying all the just because I get to learn a lot of things in the
Yeah.
process. With the fact that they live outside Nigeria, I tend to learn a lot of things, the style, the way buildings are being done in those places. And guess what? A lot of them are looking forward to hosting me when I come visit any of those countries. I mean, they are looking forward to host me. So we've turned every of our customers, like I mentioned earlier, to stakeholders. And we don't call them customers again. We call them family.
Interesting.
We call them
Interesting.
family. So we hope to do same as we are doing when the client grows to thousands or even grows to million. Because if I call you my family, will you reject it?
No.
You won't reject it. So that's it.
Thank you very much, Peacemaker. It's
you,
been a
Dami.
wonderful conversation, I must confess.
Thank you.
It's been a very educative and informative one too. Thank you very much for being
Thank
on
you.
our show.
Thank you for having me and for hosting me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for staying with us. This is still SME Chat, and today we sat in a very interesting conversation with Peacemaker Afolabi, who is the owner of Brass and Castles Homes and Properties Limited. Thank you very much for watching. Till the next episode. Bye-bye.